Hello, in this video I will be showing you how you can add a forum like this one right here to your Webflow site completely no code and in a matter of minutes. Now what really sets this solution apart is that you can customize the design of every single element of your forum inside of the Webflow Designer. So for example, I'm just going to change the styling of this button here. And then I can also change the layout. So for example, just move the comment form below the comment section here. And then I can also add in custom images or icons, and then even add in interactions. And really this is just scratching the surface of what's possible. So instead of needing to redirect your users to a generic looking third-party community platform that also has limited design flexibility, you can customize the design of your forum to match the design of the rest of your website. And also keep your community and website all under one roof. And also, if you have an existing user base through Memberstack or Outseta, you can really increase engagement and connections within your user base through this solution. So before getting started, I just quickly want to highlight how this solution works. So we are essentially going to be using a stack of 3 tools to build this forum. So the first is called Supersparks. So Supersparks is responsible for enabling the community content, engagement, and social aspect of the forum. And then you can use either Memberstack or Outseta for enabling the memberships and auth functionality of the forum. So auth meaning sign up, log in, sign out, etc. And also these tools both have powerful built-in payment features in case you were interested in charging a subscription or one-time fee for being able to access different aspects of the community forum. And then of course the tool we are going to use to design and develop the forum within our website is Webflow. So first off, I'll just quickly show you a quick demo. So first off, I'm currently logged in through Memberstack here. So now if I just go to create a new discussion, I'm just going to add a title. And then I can get started adding the rich text content for my post. Then I can add in inline images here and also just format my content in a few different ways. I can even add in an H2. And then I'm just going to select a topic here and click Post Discussion. So after doing that, I should be redirected to the page of the published post. And as you can see, my profile details get displayed as the author/original poster of this content. And then I can also upvote and also add a comment down below. So the way this works is that new posts or discussions are being generated through the Webflow CMS. So if we just jump over to this posts collection, you'll see that there is a new CMS item for the post that I just created. And then as you can see, the rich text that I input is getting added to this rich text field here, and also the title is getting added to this basic text field here. And then also the topic that I selected is being referenced in another collection for topics. So overall, a lot of flexibility with the Webflow CMS in this solution, and also allowing posts to be generated through the Webflow CMS is great for SEO. And now if we just jump over to the collection template page for the posts collection, this is where the new pages of content for each individual post is being generated from. Okay, now I think we can get started with the implementation. So first off, we're just going to jump over to the Supersparks app, and I will provide a link in the description. So next, you can create a new account if you haven't done so already. So just going to do that here. And then the next step is to select the Webflow project or website that you would like to add the forum to. So for this example, I am going to show you, I would like to add this forum to this website dedicated to kabocha squash, where people can discuss different recipes and different things related to kabocha squash. Okay, so I'm just going to select this website here and then click Authorize App. And then afterwards, we can get started with the implementation. So next, I'm just going to click Add Sparks. And then I'm just going to select the community posting mini app from the Supersparks library. And then I'm just going to click Start Trial or Create Sparks. So you might have also noticed this start from a template option here. So we don't really recommend this if you are planning to add a forum to an existing Webflow project. But if you're interested in creating a new community website by cloning a template just to speed up the design and development process, I will provide a link in the description that goes into more detail on how to do this. Okay, let's now get started going through the installation steps. So first off, we just want to connect Supersparks to a CMS collection on our website dedicated to community posts or discussions. So first off, if we just jump over to the CMS collections, I don't currently have a collection for this, so I'm just going to create a new one, and I'm just going to call this forum posts, but it can be anything you want really. And then next, I'm just going to add a custom field for rich text. I'm just going to call this forum content and then click save and then click create collection. And now if I just jump back to Supersparks and refresh this page, I can now select the CMS collection that I just created and then also select the rich text elements for this setting right here. And then I'm just going to click save and proceed. Then the next step is to copy this code snippet. And then we're just going to go to our site settings in Webflow. And next, I'm just going to go to the custom code section and paste in the code snippet that we just copied inside of the head code area. And then I'm just going to click save and then publish these changes. Okay, so now if I just jump back to Supersparks and then click test code and continue, we should see some confetti just indicating that the code snippet is set up correctly. Okay, next we are going to add a rich text form to our Webflow project. So this is where users will be able to create new posts with rich text content. So there's a couple of different components to choose from. So an unstyled and styled version. So it's completely up to you. There's only really two at the time of recording this, but we're planning on adding more. So just for this demo, I'm going to select this styled one. And then next, I'm just going to copy this component. And then if I just jump back to my Webflow project, go back to the designer, I'm just going to create a new static page for new posts. Okay, so after that's done, I can just paste in the component that I just copied by pressing Command or Control V, and then I can proceed to the next step. Okay, the next step is to add the forum post page. So that's basically this page right here where the user's content and profile details are displayed, and then users can comment/respond down below. So in order to do this, first off, we're just going to jump back to Supersparks, and then we're just going to select whether we would like to add comments or not on this page. So since this is a forum, most likely you're going to want users to be able to respond to posts. So we're just going to select enable comments and click proceed. And then again, we're just going to select a component that we would like to use for this page. But for this demo, I'm just going to select this one right here. And then I'm just going to copy the component and then go back to my Webflow project. And then I am just going to go to the collection template page for the collection that I selected in the first step inside of the Supersparks editor. So it's this one here that we just created. And then I'm just going to paste the component that I just copied by pressing Control or Command V. Okay, so we are almost ready to start testing, but first off, we can just follow these steps here for connecting certain elements included with the component to their relevant CMS fields inside of the collection. So first off, for the title of the post, that's just going to be connected to the name field. And then for the rich text element, we're just going to connect this to the forum content field. And then for the date element, we can connect it to the created on field. And then these elements here will be dynamically filled when the page loads based on who the author of the post was. Okay, so now that the basics are in place, we can get started testing. So first off, I'm just going to publish these changes that I just made. And then I'm just going to open up the page for the new post form. And then I can get started creating my first post as a logged out guest. Okay, so now if I just click post discussion, we should be redirected to the published page for my post. And as you can see, the name that I input into the form is being displayed as the author, and then the email is only visible to you as the site owner. Okay, now I am just going to add a comment as well. And it looks like this is also working. So you might be thinking, wow, this is super bare bones as it stands right now. So later on in the video, I will highlight how you can add a bunch of different extra features and also customize the design of the forum in Webflow so the forum is a bit more complete. So for example, adding in a collection list like this where users can navigate to different posts. But first off, I just think it's super important to show you how to enable the memberships functionality. So when a user is logged in through Memberstack or Outseta, their profile details get displayed with their content. Okay, so first off, if we just jump back to Supersparks, we're just going to go to the memberships section, and then we can select the membership tool that we are using on our Webflow site. So for this example here, I am using Memberstack, so I'm just going to select Memberstack and then click Save. So if you are using Outseta, you can still follow along, and I'll just quickly highlight at the very end what the key differences are for using Outseta. Okay, now if I just go back to the Webflow Designer, as you can see, I already have Memberstack installed on my website. So as you can see, there's different pages and areas for sign up, registration and profile updates. So if you haven't already implemented Memberstack or Outseta, I will provide links in the description to tutorials that go into more detail on how to implement each tool. Okay, so now let's get started. First off, signing up and then creating our first post as a registered member. And then after clicking Let's Get Started, I should be registered and logged in. Okay, so now I can also update my profile details. Okay, so as you can see, I now have a profile image. And there are ways of asking users to provide a profile image during the registration, which again, I will provide links in the description to tutorials that go into more detail on how to do that. So we now are registered and have this profile set up. So now we can also just maybe add in some navigation here so users can easily get to the new post form. So if I just double click on this component here, I'm just going to add in a new link for new post. So I can just give this a better name. And then we can just give this the same class so the styling matches up. And then we're just going to link this to the new posts static page. And I also just forgot to change the text here. Okay, so now I am just going to publish this change. Now if I just refresh on the live site, should then be able to navigate to the new post form page. Okay. So now if I click post discussion, you'll see that this time the profile details, so name, last name, and avatar or profile image gets displayed with my new post. And then the same thing should happen for my comment. Okay, there you go. Okay, now that member posting is set up, we can get started adding some notable extra features to make our form a bit more complete, starting off with the collection list feature. So basically you could add a collection list anywhere on your site to allow users to navigate to different posts. But what this feature does is it enables this type of functionality here where member profile details are being displayed inside of the collection list, and also enables sorting and filtering and pagination functions powered by FinSuite attributes. So first off, we're just going to go to the collection list, extra feature, and then scroll down, and then we can select a component and then copy it. So I'm just going to select this one with similar styling to the other components that I selected. And then we can also just create a page for the forum home, or we can even add it to the home page. So completely up to you. I'll just create a designated forum area. Then I can also add in the components for the navigation. Then can add in a section here and also then add in the collection list. Okay, so I'm also going to add a wrapper here. Just give it a name and add some padding. And just make sure this is centered. Then just increase the width here. Okay, so now that we've added this component, we can get started connecting it to the collection for forum posts. And then we can get started connecting certain fields to their relevant elements, starting off with the title of the post. So again, this is going to be the name field. And then we can also add in current item navigation to the link element. And then you can also do the same thing here for the other link elements. So this is just the preview of the post. So no need to connect this one since it's dynamic. And then this one is just for allowing users to search for posts based on the rich text content. So you would also just connect this one to the rich text field, but you can just keep it hidden. And then all of the other elements should be dynamically loaded. So upvoting and comment count I'll get to a bit later on in the video. But yeah, we can then proceed to the next step. So we've already done this, connected all of the relevant fields to their elements. And then this is also a very important step. So we just need to add in an attribute. So you can add this really anywhere, but a good place to add this is on the items element. So you're just going to give it a name of slug and then make sure the dynamic value is the slug. Okay, so next you can also add in these code snippets for enabling the sort, search filter, and pagination capabilities powered by FinSuite attributes. And then I'm just going to paste this into the body tag. And then after doing that, I can click save. And then we can publish and see this functionality in action. Okay, so as you can see, the author details are being dynamically loaded into these different author elements, and then also a short preview is being shown here. And then also users can navigate to different posts. So as you can see, I've now navigated to the post that I just created as a logged in member. Then there's one additional detail worth noting. So as you can see on this example here, there's this kind of load under pagination. So in order to enable this, basically what you're going to do is just go to the collection list element and then switch on pagination. And then on this element here, you're just going to make this the load more element. So you can just hide this icon and then increase the width and then just change the text to load more. And then you can style it a bit. So let's just make this dark black and I don't know, white for the text. And then you just have to make sure to add this class on this element. And you can also add this as an attribute if you would prefer, just by doing this, removing the 5-digit code at the end and then just pasting that as the value, no dash at the end. Okay, so now if I just publish, should be able to see this in action. So let's just make sure that the search is working, pagination is working as well. And yeah, all looks good. So the next notable feature I'd like to show you is for topic references. So you might remember earlier in the video that the topic that I selected in this select input when creating the post is being referenced from another CMS collection. So this enables this type of functionality here where you can create different pages for each individual topic, where all of the posts for a certain topic are being filtered on its relevant topic page. So this is, of course, great for SEO if you were wanting to target keywords for content surrounding different topics. So I'll just quickly show you how to implement this. So we're just, again, going to jump back to Supersparks and select the reference field extra feature. Then if we scroll down, first off, we're just going to select the reference field to the topic collection, but we haven't actually created that collection yet. So we're just going to do that. So if we just jump back to Webflow and then go to the CMS, we can then create the topics collection. And then we can just keep it pretty basic for now. So now we can get started creating our first topics. So since this is a Kaboka Squash website, I'm just going to create a topic for recipes. And then after doing that, I can create a second one here. So let's just call this cooking methods. Okay, I think that's enough for now. So now if we just go to the forum posts collection and go to the settings, we can now add in a new reference field and then connect it to the topics collection. Then just give it a label. And then we can just save these updates on the collection. So now if I just refresh this page, then go back to the extra features area, select the reference field, and then scroll down, we can then select the reference field that we just created and click save. Okay, so now we just need to create the select input where users can select the topic. So now if we just go to the new posts page, then we can add a select input and then just move this up. And then we can just even give it similar styling to the other input elements. And then we can get started adding the attribute from Supersparks into the settings. So just going to paste in the name provided, and then we're just going to set it to value 1. So you can actually set up this feature for multiple reference fields inside of Supersparks, but just for this demo, I'm only going to do this for 1. So now we can get started adding in the different topics into this select input. So first off, I'm just going to have a clean slate here and delete the existing ones. So first off, for recipes, what we're going to do is we just have to make sure that the value of each individual choice is identical to the slug for its CMS item inside of the topics collection. So for this input, I am just going to copy the recipe slug and paste it as the value. And then I'm just going to repeat the same process for cooking methods. So just going to copy the slug and paste it as the value. And the text can really be anything you want. And then you would just repeat that same process for every single topic that you have in your CMS collection. Okay, so now that that's set up, we can test this out again. Okay, so let's create. So now if I just select the relevant topic here and click post discussion, you'll see the same thing happens. I get redirected to the published page for my new post. So now if I just jump over to the posts collection, as you can see, the cooking method topic is being referenced inside of the new post that I just created. Okay, so now we can get started kind of messing around with a few things here, like, for example, adding a label for the topic, so it can just be pretty tiny. Maybe just put it below the H1 here. And then we can add in some text. And then just connect it to the post topics reference field. And then let's just make sure we have one with the reference topic. And we can just maybe make this a little bit smaller. And then just give it a background color. Maybe add in some padding here. So we have a label now, and then now if we just jump over to the topics collection template page, we can set up similar functionality to what I'm showing you here, where you can filter all of the posts for each individual topic on a topic page. So we don't have to really reinvent the wheel here. What we can actually do is we can just take the collection list area that we previously set up on the forum homepage. So let's just copy this section here and then go to the topics collection template page and then paste this in here. And then what we can do is add in a filter. So only posts are displayed when the post topics reference field equals current topic of whatever page it is. So as you can see, no posts have been added to the recipes topic. So if we just go to the cooking method one now, the post that I just created is now being shown here. And then if we just publish, the same functionality should also be working here, where the profile details are being dynamically loaded for the author of the post. And then you could also just move over the FinSuite attributes code snippets and then paste them into the body and then publish in order to enable the sort, pagination, and filtering capabilities. Now, there is one additional extra feature that I would like to quickly show you how to implement. And after, I will show you how you can customize the design of your forum instead of having something super basic like we have set up until this point. The extra feature I want to show you how to set up now is this one right here, where if a user clicks on a profile detail for the author of a certain piece of content, they can then navigate to a public profile page where they can see all of the previously posted posts and comments or their general activity on the forum. So in order to enable this, we're just going to jump back to Supersparks and then select the member public profiles extra feature. So this is just a quick intro here, and then we're just going to select the page type. So for this demo, I'm just going to select the static page option. And then for the implementation, what we're going to do is go back to our Webflow project, create a new static page for the member public profiles. So you can just call this member maybe. And then we're just going to take the slug for this static page and then paste it into this setting here inside of Supersparks and click Save. Then the next step is to copy this class, and then we're just going to go to the collection template page for posts, and then we can add this class to any element we want users to be able to click in order to navigate to the public profile page. So a good place to add this is the profile image element. So again, you can also add these classes as attributes. In fact, it's probably better. So again, just going to remove the 5-digit code at the end of the class, and then also remove the dash, and then just add the code as the value. And then I can also add it to any other elements I would like users to be able to click in order to go to the public profile page. So just gonna, again, copy this class here, and then add it in as an attribute. And then I can just publish. And then there's also one more step. So next we are just going to copy this component. So at the time of recording this, there's only really one component for the public profiles, but we're planning on adding more in the coming months. So after copying, we can then go back to the static page for the public profiles that we just created, and then paste in this component. So now, if we just publish again, then just go to the forum home, then just go to our first post that was created while logged in. So now if I just click on the profile image here, as you can see, I'm able to navigate to my public profile page. And then I can also see all of the activity for my profile. So one detail worth noting is that if you're not planning on adding reviews to your website, you can just remove this tab here. So there are, of course, a bunch of other extra features that you can add. For example, the ability for users to delete their own posts. So all of these extra features have mini tutorials inside of the Supersparks editor. So just be sure to take a look at those for more details on how to implement each one of these. And then also the comments section also has its own unique set of extra features that can be added. Now, if you were interested in enabling upvoting for posts, kind of similar to what you see here, where users can go to a post page and upvote, and then the total amount of upvotes gets synced into the collection list element, where users can sort by popularity based on the amount of upvotes a certain post gets. So this is actually a standalone feature of Supersparks. So if we just go back to the home page and click Add Sparks, we can then create a new spark for upvoting and favoriting. And then we can just select a upvoting component that we would like to use. So I'm just going to select this one here. And then I'm just going to copy this component for upvoting. And then on my Webflow project, I'm just going to go to the collection template page for posts and then paste in this component here. So I'll actually just set this to absolute. Just make sure this is relative. And then just put this in the top right corner and change the positioning a bit. And then, yeah, you can also adapt the design of this component too for the voted and upvoted state. So the upvoted state is hidden or just positioned behind the non-upvoted state. So you can just hide this briefly if you were interested in changing the styling of this upvoted state. So for example, changing this to a green, you could do that and then just unhide this. Okay, so after doing that, we can proceed to the next step, and that is to just simply select the collection where community posts are being generated from, and then select a number field. So I'll actually just get to that after, but then the last kind of mandatory step is to select the membership tool we are using. So in this case, it's Memberstack, and then click Save and Proceed. Okay, so after publishing these changes, I should be able to see upvoting and action. So yeah, as you can see, this is now working. Okay, so now for syncing in the total amount of upvotes for the different sorting options in the collection list, what we can do is just go back to our Webflow project, and then we're just going to go into our settings for forum posts, and then we're just going to add in a number field for total upvotes. Then click Save. And then save the changes. And then if we just go back to Supersparks and refresh the page, and then go back to the upvoting settings, we can then select the new number field for syncing in the total upvote data. Okay, so now that we have a basic forum up and running, we can get started customizing the design of our forum. First of all, to match the design of the rest of our website better, and then also just to improve the user experience, because you might notice it's currently pretty fragmented and there's no real kind of navigation between the different pages. So first off, the design of all of the components that we've pasted so far can be adapted in the Webflow Designer. So for example, we can just change the styling of the input here. And also we can change the icons inside of the editor. And then also if we were, for example, interested in making the different content submit buttons match up with this kind of main green button, what we could do is also just apply this class for the green button to all of our content submit buttons. So for example, on the new post page, you can just add this class, and as you can see, the styling gets carried over. And then we would also just repeat that same process for the comment submit buttons. And yeah, this is just one example. So one thing to just be aware of is to avoid deleting classes or attributes starting with Supersparks. So for example, this one right here, or just avoid deleting any elements with these attributes or classes, because these are probably essential for enabling different functionality of Supersparks. And then also for the rich text editor, just try not to delete or change the class names for any of these custom elements here for the rich text. But yeah, you can pretty much change the class names and structure for any other element inside of these components. Okay, then in terms of improving the navigation, so what you could do is just add navigation so users can easily go to the forum. So we could also just change this to forum home. instead of new post, and then allow users to go to the forum home. And then from the forum home, you could add a button somewhere. So maybe an H1 here, the top of the section or wrapper, and then just make sure that this has a flux going down. Then just add this in another div. Just give it a max width of 900, let's say. And then I can just add the H1, and then we can also add another div, and then just add in a button here, and then just make it so there's space between styling, and then we can just give this the main green button styling. And then just add a call to action here for create a new post. And then here you would add navigation to the new post page. But yeah, this is one of many ways you could customize this. If you're looking for inspiration, you could also take a look at our different templates. So if you just go to Supersparks and go to the templates page and select our different forum templates, you can find different clonables for each template. And then you can also just take a look at the read-only site just to see how these different navigation areas are configured. So as you can see on this template, there's kind of this side and top navigation on the homepage where users can navigate to the different topic collection template pages. So yeah, I'll just quickly show you how you could add an area like the one we see on the homepage where users can navigate to the topics pages. So I'll just maybe create new div block, and then I'll just try to give it this same styling here to keep things consistent. Then I can also just add in an H2. Okay, guess I added the wrong class here. So just maybe just add in another div block and then put that in here, and then add this forum card master class. As you can see, it just gives it the nice little box shadow here. And then we can add in a collection list for topics. And then can add in a text link element. And then add in some text, connect it to the name field, and then connect the link block to the current topic. Then we can style this a bit. So yeah, this is super basic here. But yeah, I can just give it the same shade of green for the font color, and then also just separate these a little bit. Just give it some margin for now, bottom margin. And then yeah, you can also play around with adding different fields, like what's happening in the forum. So as you can see, each individual topic has its own unique color and icon, but totally up to you how you would like to customize this. But if I just publish now, and now if I just go back to the forum homepage, As you can see, users are now not only limited to being able to navigate to different posts, they can also navigate to different topic pages and also navigate to the page for creating a new post. So yeah, as you can see, the design is super basic for now. So I would definitely spend more time improving the design of this, but really it's completely up to you how you would like to design your forum. And then one other thing I can kind of briefly highlight is if we just go to the topics page here, we can then add in the same kind of top navigation slash H1 area here, and then we can just connect the H1 with any relevant elements for the topic that you would like to use for the H1. So yeah, I'm just using the name for now. And then also here, you could again add in the top nav bar. Okay, so now that we have a forum working and have made a few updates to the design to improve the internal navigation, there are a few additional updates I wanted to add that are Memberstack and Outseta specific for ensuring that my forum is member only. So I would like to set up similar functionality to what we see here on this demo project, where if a user is logged out and goes to post either a new post or new comment, instead of seeing the form, they'll instead see an element like this, but the user is then still able to read all of the content. And if a user logs in, they can then see the form and are then, of course, able to post content. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to set something similar up. So the easiest way of doing this is to install the app of whichever tool you are using from the Webflow Designer. So you can just find it inside of the designer in the app section. So again, I'm just going to show you me setting this up for Memberstack, but the process is pretty much identical for Outseta. It just requires you to press slightly different buttons inside of their app. So I'll just quickly show you how you can set up something similar to this. First off, on the new posts page. So first off, I am just going to add a div block outside of the form. And then I'm just going to add in a paragraph element into here, and then just going to make the text say something like login to get started posting content. So then I can just maybe make this div block have a background color of the same green as the button. I can just center align this and then change the color of the font to white. Then just remove that and then give this a bit more padding at the top, bottom. And then also add in a text link here saying log in. And yeah, this is super basic. I'm sure you can do way better. So let's just then direct users to the login page in the link settings for this element. So now that that's done, we can get started adding the different protected content or gating settings here. So first off, I'm just going to open up the Memberstack app. And then for this kind of logged out div element, I'm just going to make it so the content type is logged out. And then for the form, I'm just going to make it so content type is logged in. And then if you're using Outseta for the logged out, you would select data O anonymous in their app. And then for logged in elements, you would select data O authenticated. Okay, so now that that's done, we can also just repeat this same process, or let's just make sure this is working first. Okay, so I'm currently logged in, so I should be able to see the new post form. So now if I just log out, then go back to the form home and then navigate to this page. So instead of seeing the form, I'm now seeing the element telling me to log in. Okay, so now I'm just going to repeat the same process in the comment form. So first off, outside of the comment form, I'm just going to add this element here. And yeah, the attributes should get carried over. And then for the comments form itself, we're just going to set this to content type logged in. And then for the reply form, what would actually probably be a nicer experience is to just hide this element here with the reply form trigger altogether. So you could just make it so, yeah, users don't even see the option to reply if they're logged out. So yeah. And then, yeah, you just do the same thing for this one here. Okay, so let's see that in action now. So now if I just go to a post, you'll see that I'm seeing this element instead of the comment form. Then if I log in and return to the forum home, you'll see that I can now add a comment. So yeah, this is one of many ways you could customize the user experience using Memberstack and Outseta for different membership types. One other way you could do it is to gate pages altogether. So instead of allowing users to see the content but not be able to post content, you could make it so the entire page is blocked unless they are logged in. And you could also configure different gating depending on whether a user is a paid subscriber to a certain product or a non-paid user. So lots of flexibility here, and I will provide a link in the description that goes into more detail on how to implement all of these different features of Memberstack and Outseta. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you, but before ending this video, there are a few notable settings that I just quickly wanted to highlight. So if we just go into the community posting Spark that we just added to our site and then go to the settings, you'll see here that there is a setting for moderation. So if you were interested in manually approving new posts or comments before they get added to your website, you can just switch on a setting to manually approve and click save. Then you can also do the same thing for your comment section. So there's also a setting for this inside of the comment Spark that is connected to the community posting for our forum. And then where you can actually moderate the content is from the Manage Content dashboard inside of Supersparks. So this is where you would be able to review and see the authors of all of the different content that gets added to your site, and of course, moderate content. So for example, for this page, if I was wanting to delete this comment, I could just click the delete button. And then now if I just refresh this page, you'll see that the comment is no longer visible here. And then if I just go back to Supersparks and again to the community posting settings, There are a bunch of notification settings you can configure, including setting up a custom webhook. But if we just jump over to the membership section, there are a few additional settings related to the Memberstack and Outseta integrations. And that is for enabling notifications to your users whenever one of their pieces of content gets responded to. For example, another user replies to their comment or adds a comment to one of their forum posts. So we definitely recommend switching this setting on just to ensure that users come back to your website whenever another user interacts with their content. And then you can also follow these steps here for configuring notification settings so users can opt out and opt back in for reply notifications. And then also another one we recommend adding is a webhook to Memberstack or Outseta. So this webhook will just ensure that Supersparks is notified whenever a user updates their profile details. So for example, if a user updates their profile image, the new profile image will be displayed across all of their content. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Do not hesitate to reach out to us at hello@supersparks.io if you have any questions. Okay, thanks for watching. Have fun designing and take care. Bye.